I'll just hang on to that one. Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Rolla. Resolved that the regular meeting commence at the hour of 7 p.m. And be it further resolved that Council acknowledges that we are meeting in the Robinson Superior Treaty area on lands that have been traditionally used by several Indigenous nations. But we would like to pay special recognition to our closest Indigenous neighbors, the communities of Biddigon, Nashnabig, and Pic-Mobile First Nations. We wish to recognize the long history of the First Nations and Métis people in our region specifically and show respect to them today. All in favor? Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order and thank everybody very much for showing up. It's a great crowd tonight. Moved by Councillor Rolla, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Resolved that the following addition be approved for closed session. Section 239(2)B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Appointment of CLC member. All in favor? Thank you. Is there any disclosure of interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move to the approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Scampanello and seconded by Councillor Rolla. Resolved that the agenda be approved as amended. All in favor? There are no delegations or presentations, so we'll move to the adoption of the minutes of the previous meetings. Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Scampanello. Resolved that the minutes of the special meeting held on August 14, 2019 are adopted as circulated. All in favor? Thank you. Moved by Councillor Scampanello, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting held on August 14, 2019 are adopted as circulated. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Rolla, seconded by Councillor Scampanello. Resolved that the minutes of the special meeting held on September 16, 2019 are adopted as circulated. All in favor? Thank you. There are no petitions, so we move to correspondence. Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Rolla. Resolved that correspondence items number 08-01 to 08-03 be received And be it further resolved that, is there, yes?
I would just like to move 02 down for discussion.
Thank you. And be it further resolved that item number 0802 be returned to council under business for the meeting of September 25th, 2019. All in favor? Thank you. Go to reports and committees. Moved by Councillor Hudson, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Resolved that the minutes of the meeting of the Thunder Bay District Social Service Administration Board held June 20th, 2019 regular and June 20th, 2019 closed be accepted as received. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Scampanello, seconded by Councillor Hudson. Resolved that the minutes of the meeting of the Manitowoc's Public Library Board held June 10th, 2019 be accepted as received. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Hudson. Resolved that the minutes of the meeting of the Thunder Bay District Board of Health held June 19, 2019 be accepted as received. All in favor? There is no verbal. Did you want to make an update, or you're okay? Moved by Councillor Hudson, seconded by Councillor Moffat, being a bylaw to enter into a service agreement with the Santé Manitowoc's Health and the Corporation of the Township of Manitowoc's for the Community Transportation Program, MyRide, be read a first and second time.
Through the Chair, this agreement is with Santé Manitowoc Health. We partnered with them for the Community Transportation Program. The vehicle actually arrived last Friday, so we are getting it cleaned up. We're going to put the stickers on it that are required, do some cleaning up. There's an ad out for a staff person to manage this program, so that person will be hired. They will be our employee, but Santé Manitowoc Health is going to administer the program, just like they did with the MyRide program. They have the expertise there, so this agreement just outlays who's responsible for what.
Any discussion?
No, I think it's a great program. I'm glad to see that it's being refreshed.
Okay. And be it further, be read a third time and passed and numbered as bylaw number 2019-19. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Rolla, seconded by Councillor Scampanello, being a bylaw to authorize a lease agreement with the Manitowoc's Golden Age Centre to be read a first and second time.
Through the Chair, so as Council is aware, we purchased the building at 40 Manitou for the seniors, and they are actively moving in as we speak. They're moving some of their stuff in. So this is the agreement that outlines who's responsible for what in the facility. Their executive have reviewed this and have agreed with it. They have no concerns with it, so now we just need Council's endorsement on it.
Okay, I went through it and I'm fine with the agreement.
And furthermore, be read a third time, passed and numbered as bylaw number 2019-20. All in favor? Thank you. Move down to the business. Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Hudson. Resolved that the Thunder Bay Municipal League Conference is scheduled to be held on October 25th and 26th, 2019 in Thunder Bay, Ontario. And be it further resolved that the following council and/or staff members will attend.
Through the chair, I am available to attend.
Okay.
I'm not available.
I'm not sure at this point. I'd have to say no then if you need it tonight.
Through the chair, what you can do is if you wish to, you can be approved by the resolution and then contact, let Christy know because she'll make the reservations. If you're available, then we'll register you at that point. At least you're approved in the resolution.
Thank you.
I'll be unable to attend.
You can't attend. And I will attend, and you will attend. Thank you. And be it further resolved that the following council and/or staff members will attend. Mayor John McEachran, Councillor David Arola, Margaret Harting, CEO, Clerk Treasurer, Councillor James Moffat. All in favour?
Jimmy Moffat.
Eh?
Jimmy Moffat.
Jimmy Moffat.
Not
Okay.
James.
Okay, Jim Moffat.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Scampanello, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Resolved that Council is in receipt of Administration Report EDO 2019-04 submitted by Florence McLean, Economic Development Officer, regarding a logo design and community branding.
Through the chair, Ms. McLean is out of town today, so she's unable to attend the meeting. So I can speak on her behalf. So it's suggested that there has been money put aside for marketing and rebranding, and the report speaks for itself, and it goes along with some of the revitalization that's coming down a few items later. Whether council wishes to have a look at the logo and possibly rebrand. If council doesn't wish to touch the logo and wants to leave it as is, then we would cancel this motion. The brand itself doesn't really identify Manitouwadge anymore. Part of the revitalization will be looking at what do we want to be, who are we, and what do we want to market ourselves. So that would tie into this because, as everybody knows, the Stomp is not the townships. It belongs to EDC. We would need their permission, but the same has been said that we still really don't know what we're marketing with the Stomp either, plain extreme. We don't have a lot of activities that follow that line. So who are we and what do we want to be to who to market to investors? So that's why the proposal is there for possibly rebranding.
Okay, through the chair, yes, I would be up for seeing a logo, and I mean, we can always approve it or not approve it at the time, correct? Once
Correct.
Yes.
Through the chair, I'm in agreement with Councillor Moffat. I think we should look at rebranding and possibly a new logo.
Yeah, through the chair, I'd have to agree with Jim.
Through the chair, it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. And be it further resolved that upon conclusion of the Council's review and consideration, we direct staff as follows: to hire a communications consultant to undertake a public consultation into the design of a new municipal logo, and further that Council will be presented with several draft designs in order to review and consider a new logo. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Hudson, second by Councillor Scampanello. Resolved that Council is in receipt of Administration Report EDO 2019-05 submitted by Florence McLean, Economic Development Officer, regarding the Superior East Community Futures Development Corporation Regional Strategic Plan.
Through the chair, we're asking for endorsement of this regional strategic plan. Ms. McLean has been attending these meetings. The report outlines which communities are involved. And when you look at the second page of the report, other communities that are involved are Chapleau, Dubreuilville, Wawa, and Wright River. Those are the communities that we also meet and have worked on partnerships with the mayor's group. So it encompasses everything from Wawa all the way through to the other side of Thunder Bay. There's no cost to us for doing this, but the benefits can be huge. So we're asking for your support on this.
Through the chair. My question on that means there's two separate groups, one in the east, one in the west, and we would be in conjunction with both of them?
We would be in partnership with both of them, or involved in both of them, have the ability to be involved, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And be it further resolved that upon conclusion of council's review and consideration, direct staff as follows. Council accepts the Regional Development Strategic Plan, and further that council directs staff to continue working with the communities involved in the development of the regional plan and with both the Superior East and Superior North CFDCs to explore interest and opportunities identified in the final regional plan. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Hudson. Resolved that Council is in receipt of Administration Report EDO 2019-06, submitted by Florence McLean, Economic Development Officer, regarding a community's revitalization plan and community improvement plan.
Through the chair, this is something that was identified in the strategic plan for a number of reasons. We need to know that we are a community that people want to live in, and who are we, and what are we marketing again. There's going to be a couple changes to the financing, and I'll outline those a little later. One of the issues that we have when we're applying for funding today is that we don't have capital projects sitting on the shelf, and we also don't have a completed asset management plan, which we're working on now. And those are an integral part of applying for major capital grants, and they're also a requirement of a lot of the funding bodies. And Ms. McLean refers to that when it comes to the rural economic development funding. We don't qualify because we don't have a study that identifies a need for any project that we would put forward under that specific grant. So when it comes to the funding, what we are suggesting is the project will cost about $150,000 to complete both of the studies that she's identified in here. We have NWMO funding that we have not used and will not use by the end of the year. Initially, we were going to apply for FEDNAR, NHOFC, and other funding bodies to help pay for this, but that would take a year to get the approval, which means that this project wouldn't be completed for a number of years. So what we're now suggesting and recommending to Council is that this falls right in line with the NWMO money that's available. So we use that money, and if Council remembers, they approved those budgets, items 2 through 9, a couple of meetings ago. We would access that money. We also have under the money that the CLC is eligible to spend. That will not be fully spent by the end of this year. This also falls right into that category. So we would use both of those at the end of 2019. We would see what the balance is, and we would take the balance out of the Community Wellbeing Fund. Unfortunately, I can't give you a dollar value today because we are still spending those funds, but in total we would not exceed $150,000.
Okay. Through the chair, I think it's a great idea.
Through the chair, $150,000 is a large amount of money. So I'd certainly want more details if they could be provided. I read the report, and I understand you may be at a disadvantage because Florence McLean isn't here. I had a number of questions about the report. I'm thinking of different things, and I always know that the next day I'll think of more. And that's the problem I have is I feel for myself I need a little more time to think about this, especially with the large amount of money being requested. I'm asking for two options. One, we defer and think about this until the next council meeting. The second option I thought of some point today was simply we have a stay of proceedings on this particular issue to the end of this council meeting, because there are other funding requests and it's all about the money, and I'm a little concerned. So either we defer to the next council meeting, or we just simply stay this proceeding until we hear about all the other funding requests tonight, so we can better make that decision. That's my point. Thank you.
Through the chair, I might be able to answer some of your questions. The cost is right in line with what it would cost us for any consultant to come in for a project of this magnitude. We spent over $60,000 just for the strategic plan. So this includes people coming in, doing consultation and so on. With your reference to other funding, this funding would not be available for the next item on the agenda. It does not meet the criteria.
Okay, I do have questions then on the funding, if I may. So I guess my understanding is quotes have been gathered, and the 150 is the best selected. I guess my question would be, is there any chance of relooking at doing more work and see if this number can be dropped? Is there any chance of that?
So through the chair, no. That's our estimate based on our experience getting these kind of projects done. Ms. McLean went through this when she was employed in Sioux Lookout, so she has a really good idea what the project will cost and what the outcome will be and the magnitude of the work. You know, this will take us into next year to get this work completed. We would put out an RFP, and it would go to the bidder who could give us the best product, not necessarily the lowest price.
I understand. Through the chair. So if the 150 requested is firm, I gather it is firm, I read the report. I was very impressed. Revitalization I firmly believe in. The one thing that just struck me that I appreciated in the report was forming a revitalization committee to help with the process. So my question goes back to using this committee. I'm very impressed with the report. Could we use the committee to take on a portion? Out of the $150K, what I would be looking at is, I imagine the quote specifies what the public consultation portion would be, what the gathering of the documents would be, what the analysis of those documents would be, and the ultimate recommendations to the town. So I'm wondering, from the quote, how much of that 150 would be reaching out to the community of Manitouwadge and doing the public consultation process of the 150, roughly? I'm not asking for a specific amount.
Yeah, that's unknown. That would depend on the consultant and how they were coming. The bonus in having a consultant, or the benefit of having a consultant, is you're getting the same consistent message. So this committee would work with the consultant and the community. They wouldn't work standalone.
Okay.
If a consultant's going to do it, then you're getting the guidance, and I don't know who was involved in the strategic planning sessions, but we were guided along as to what kind of information they were looking for and what we could provide them so that they could prepare the best document for us.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Sorry.
The committee would be made up of local community members
Yes.
and council members as well?
Yes, it's identified in
Okay.
here
Just wanted to
what the proposed makeup would be, yes.
Okay.
So, through the chair, my last question then. The revitalization committee would be made up of locals. And the local people would be, the town would be very comfortable in approaching them. And what I'm asking is, if we can use the revitalization committee to handle the public consultation with maybe some communication with the consultant, but not completely the consultant's job. Do the consultation with our community on what Manitowoc feels revitalization should look like, and we could potentially save multi-thousands of dollars if we do that. Having our local committee talk to our community, bring that, liaise with the consultant, not necessarily bring the consultant in, liaise and get advice on it. And I think we could cut the cost of that $150 down considerably. That would be my suggestion, that we look at cost savings by using our own people on the consultation process.
Through the chair, I don't believe that our people are the best people to be leading that without the guidance of a consultant who has the expertise in drafting this kind of a document and taking the information from all parties. The committee would certainly play a role in it, and you can talk to everyone in the community, and anybody who council appoints to that committee can be, the liaison between the committee and the consultant. So if you're at church or at coffee or whatever, and you're hearing things from residents of the community, you would then bring that back to the consultant and say, this is what I'm hearing from the community. There's also going to be open houses, which should really be a mandatory part of this process, where every resident gets the opportunity to come in and talk to the consultant and see what they're looking at and the ideas that are proposed. And, that consultant's better poised to ask questions and get the answers that they're going to need to generate that type of a report.
Okay, I understand.
I couldn't tell you how much at this point that would save, if anything. It may turn out to be more work for the consultant trying to digest all that information.
So, through the chair, I'm just guessing here the consultant would have to, wherever they're from, would have to make many visits to Manitowoc. And all I'm saying is, if the basic legwork can be done by locals, and then bring the consultant in on the end, or telephone advice, whatever we have to, I'm still thinking, yes, rely on the consultant for the end game, but rely on our own locals to cut back on the cost of getting the ideas back from the community. I think we don't know the number, but it has to be significant. It must be significant. And we'd be able to bring that cost down significantly. And it affects everything. I mean, so that's my issue. I'd like to throw that out for other ideas, and thank you.
So through the chair, the resolution is before you as is. You can read the resolution, see if you have the support of council. If not, then you may consider an amendment.
Okay. And be it further resolved that upon conclusion of council's review and consideration, direct staff as follows. Council approves the project for funding through the remaining 2019 and WMO allocation at December 31st, 2019, with the balance to be funded from the Community Wellbeing Fund. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Scapanello, seconded by Councilor Moffat. Resolved that council is in receipt of Administration Report PW 2019-10 submitted by Randy Barnes, Public Works Superintendent, regarding the tree removal at Lakeview Terrace. Now is Mr. Barnes.
Through the chair, Mr. Barnes wasn't able to make it tonight. Mr. Cranny's here. If you have any questions, quite simply the recommendation, council had asked for a price, so we've given you a price, and the recommendation is that this be budgeted for in the 2020 budget. Unless council.
Any questions?
Through the chair, would this be done by a local contractor?
Yes. We need to have, there's some trees that need to be felled, so you need to be chainsaw certified tree fellers, so we would try and get local people to do the work.
Okay. And would it be, I'm assuming it would be done in the spring?
Yes, it would be a budget submission
Okay.
for deliberations in 2020, and we would address it through that budget process.
Okay. Thank you.
Through the chair, so the actual work of cutting the trees wouldn't be until the spring?
Yeah, we wouldn't start this at all until it was approved in the budget.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
And be it further resolved that upon conclusion of council's review and consideration, direct staff as follows. Council approves the contractor be secured to clear the area, and further that this be provided for in the 2020 budget. All in favor? Moved by Councilor Arola, second by Councilor Hudson. Council is in receipt of Administration Report ADM 2019-13 submitted by Shelley Ferguson, Director of Community Services, and Margaret Hartling, CAO, Clerk Treasurer, regarding Kiwasa Ski Hill.
Through the chair, could I possibly request that we move the item that was brought down up before we do this?
Before we do this one, okay.
Because this, I think, will be a lengthy conversation.
Okay, sure.
Is that possible?
With council's approval.
You have it? Oh, it needs to be, we need two signatures. Sure. Moved by Councilor Moffat, seconded by Councilor Scapanello. Resolved that council is in receipt of a resolution from the Township of Larder Lake regarding a request for support to allow for electronic delegations with ministers. And be it further resolved that council, we need to discuss it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Through the chair, I think that resolution that Larder Lake's trying to pass, it would be beneficial to small communities like ourselves as far as getting a delegation to the minister. So I'm in complete support of going electronically by Skype, whatever they want to, however they feel fit to do it. But I just think that's a great thing for small communities, and I think Manitowoc should support it.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
And be it further resolved that council supports the resolution that small and rural municipalities be allowed to electronically meet with ministers for delegations. And be it further resolved that this resolution be sent to the Township of Ladner Lake, the Premier, and all ministers for their consideration. All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Moved by Councilor Arola, seconded by Councilor Hudson. Resolved that council is in receipt of Administration Report ADM 2019-13 submitted by Shelley Ferguson, Director of Community Services, and Margaret Hartling, CAO, Clerk Treasurer, regarding the Kiwasa Ski Hill. Okay, you're on.
I'm on. Through the chair, I present the administration report in an effort to request council's direction based on the information I've provided. My research has depicted that there's been years of not neglect, but potentially we need to inject some money into the ski hill. I found significant repairs are required. We need training for the SLMT to suffice with TSSA. We've had to refer to a certified contractor, which has increased our costs that we didn't foresee, and we were unable to coordinate with Terrace Bay in amalgamating our training and our audit to offset some of the costs. I'll let Margaret speak to the tables.
So through the chair, just to continue on with the reports. So we tried last year to open the ski hill, and we were unaware of some of the mechanical issues that were going on, quite honestly. And we're absolutely unaware of the asbestos issue until very recently. We were unsuccessful in retaining a suitable qualified individual to run the ski hill, and that was the only reason the ski hill didn't open last year. It had nothing to do with money. The money was budgeted. We just couldn't find someone to employ to work up there. We made some changes so that we went to council and request that we combine two seasonal positions, the one at the golf course and the one at the ski hill, so that we could better attract an individual. Seasonal was proving quite difficult to get someone, and council agreed. We did see more applicants as a result of that change. When we look at the finances, there's a couple things that we don't know. So we know that it's going to cost a minimum this year of $51,500 to open the ski hill. That includes some of the training that we've put in the budget for the TSSA and bringing Ward Bond up to do an audit and look at the mechanics. We have a quote of $6,500 for the Type 2 asbestos abatement. There's a couple caveats there. We don't know mechanically when they get up there what they're going to find, so that cost could increase. And we're being quite open in that we do not know what that final number may be. 51 may be enough. We can't give you that guarantee. Same as the abatement, we're budgeting $6,500. Again, we cannot guarantee that once they get up there that will cover it, depending on the extent of the asbestos. Once they actually start to open the building and do that remediation, will we actually know whether that's enough? There's been a couple of studies that have been done in recent history that talk about the assets and the difficulty that the township will find itself in the future to manage the capital maintenance of those assets. And I've quoted a couple of those. In the tables that I gave you, we tried to provide you as many stats as we could as far as the participation in the usage of the ski hill, the net budget cost, what you would see the budget would have been. So when I look at the 2019, there's two. There's the actual, and then there's an estimate had we been open full season and what it would have done to this year's budget, the impact. And then what we did is we looked at 2020 using 2019 assessment and the budget as is, because we don't know what the 2020 will be, and what the impact would be in 2020 with the costs. Now, we do know that 51 may go down, but we had to give council the highest possible figure that we think it could be. You know, depending on what they find and how comfortable they get and the maintenance becomes more routine, we may see that price go down. We don't know that today. So we had to give you what we might expect at an outside. So the impact of the ski hill operations next year on the budget, everything being equal, would be $2.75 to each home in the community for every dollar worth of assessment. So the impact to each individual home would be different. On a $50,000 home, it would cost that ratepayer $137 for taxes just for the operation of the ski hill. So the options are up to council to consider. Staff is looking for direction.
Can I start with the first question? There was a cost to the homeowner before, though.
Correct, and I put those in.
And what
so-
was the cost again? Sorry,
So for 2019, and you got to remember, it's only, so I'll go back to 2018 because it was the last full year budget
Yeah.
we had, was $1.96 per $1,000 worth of assessments.
Sure.
So on a $50,000 house, $97.
so it's 90, it's 130 versus 97.
Now it's going to be closer to 140.
140 versus, okay, thank you.
Okay, through the chair. Last year was a really hard decision for us to agree that this hill had to be closed. The ski hill's been here forever, and with all these people here to support, I would have to back them and say, let's go ahead and put the $50,000 or whatever it is to get it up and running. And as far as an extra $40 per se per household, I think that's just part of having a great community to live in and having these recreational facilities on board.
I agree.
Through the chair, council's already directed staff to make this ski hill happen. That's already been done. We're just here talking about money. In the last item, I was trying to find some savings so that the Nuclear Waste Management Fund could be used to fully fund the ski hill, and that didn't work. Because according to my figures then, we're a little bit short on the Nuclear Waste Management Fund. If we take the 150 that I really thought we could have found savings on, we've only got 44 left. The ski hill wants 51. I don't care how we do it. I don't care where we find $10,000. It's minuscule to me. What I think too is, and I did not see it in the report, and wherever there's equipment, and I know at my house, that where there is equipment working one day, it may not be working the next. There should also be requested a contingency, $25,000, so that you wouldn't have to come back to us every time something breaks. So, I'm not happy about the 150 because I think we could have got this done easily. So, please. Anyway, we use the rest of the nuclear waste management funds. We look for a surplus fund somewhere that we don't go to the taxpayer for extra money for, because it's there. We have surplus funds. I recall something in the budget of council-directed surplus. So I don't believe we have to go to the taxpayer. So we search and find that extra $10,000, and I suggest we find a bit of contingency as well. Because what's working today may not be working tomorrow. And if you have to come to council for $3,000 to fix something, it could take up to 2 weeks. And that ski hill's not running. So let's find the money, I know it's there, without increasing taxes. We can do it. That's my point.
Through the chair, I have some questions about item number 3, where it talks about the annual audit and the training and the maintenance and all the startup costs, where the breakdown is. The training, the certified mechanic that has to come, is that an annual thing? Because in here it says it's annual, but why does the certified mechanic have to come every year once they're, sorry.
Through the chair, the certified mechanic actually comes to do the audit, provides for TSSA when they arrive on site. They're required to teach the ski lift mechanic in training, our employee.
They are the only ones who can teach the ski lift mechanic in training. They then check off their passport, which can be presented to TSSA for their next phase exam. It's all pyramid building, so to speak. Start at the ground level, you do your training, the mechanic comes in and teaches you every little piece, signs off on it, then you can go and write exam 1. Then the mechanic continues to come and visit, gives you more training, signs you off, you go and write your exam 2. And eventually you can become a mechanic that can train Terrace Bay or whoever.
So how many exams are there in...
There's 2 exams, through the chair. There's 2 exams that are depicted within the ski lift mechanic in training. And then when you hit your next level of authorization, there's another set of exams. So it's build-on situation. And it depends on how ambitious the ski lift mechanic is. It can take 5 years, it can take 2 months. Just depends on how ambitious the person is.
Through the chair, so if the person that is hired does the 2 exams quickly within the first year, then that is an annual cost that the mechanic doesn't have to come back the next year? Or are you telling me that he has to come back every year because this person has to constantly upgrade?
Through the chair, the ski lift mechanic in training would continue until they are a licensed full ski lift mechanic. Then they wouldn't require a mechanic to come and sign off on their apprenticeship.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair, part of the problem is we have a short season, so it takes them longer because it takes them longer to get the required hours in to do that. And the person training them has to feel comfortable and competent and sign off on them. So it could take a couple of years.
Okay. Through the chair, you alluded to that the well-being fund cannot be used for this?
No, the first items that I talked about, the 1 through 9 can.
Okay.
The 2 through 9 cannot. You can use the community well-being fund, but I don't believe that it was intended by NWMO for operational costs such as 2020. Could you use it for 2019? Yes. There are sufficient funds in there.
Okay.
There was 2 separate pots of money.
Okay.
Before I read the resolution, I'd like to know from councillors how high what we would ask the staff, the limit we'd ask them to spend. So if you're saying 50,000 before, are you suggesting we should put more in it? Or?
So, through the chair, first of all, there's 194,000 in the nuclear waste fund.
No, I'm just asking about this item here. That's all. I want to put a figure in here.
I need to put a figure in it too. That's my point here. I don't want to leave here with the taxpayers on the hook for more. So what I'm saying is, I talked of this before. There's 44,000 more dollars, which it leaves about 8,000 we got to find somewhere. I feel there's a contingency, so maybe 70,000 be somehow transferred. But what we have to figure out is where that money is going to come from and approve it here tonight. It's my understanding there's a council-directed surplus. So from that 194 and 150, that difference, I don't see much more than 20, 30,000 more be directed from councillor, come from the councillor-directed surplus, so that the taxpayer isn't on the hook for anything. So
Through the chair, I'm not clear. There is no council-directed surplus. So I can't verify the numbers that you are talking about, but I could make it easy. There is a reserve fund for infrastructure improvements, which is where I would suggest that if council wants to do this, that it come from for the cost for getting it going in 2019.
Through the chair, I'm recalling our budget meeting. And if I'm wrong, then let's analyze this. I recall a council-directed surplus. I saw it. Am I mistaken? Possibly. It was there when we did the budget. So if we can't figure this out, then I think we need to have an emergency or some special meeting to go back and resolve this, because there's money there, more than enough to get the ski hill going, which is what the town wants, without impacting the taxpayer any further. So we have to do a complete budget analysis to figure this out. I'm all in, but I think we can come up with $20,000, $30,000 that it takes.
Okay, I would like a figure.
Through the chair. As far as the excess in the Community Wellbeing Fund, what is the amount that we would have there available to put through the ski hill, towards the ski hill, and also the other fund that you said is in reserves for, was it for capital, you said?
Through the chair, I wasn't prepared for that question, so I don't have the answer at the tip of my fingers. I do know that, as I suggested to Councillor Rolla, there is an infrastructure replacement reserve. There are more than sufficient funds in that reserve.
Okay.
We can clearly identify that reserve without having a special meeting to talk about the Wellbeing Fund. There is an account that I can clearly identify that has sufficient funds. The question is, how much is council willing to spend overall out of that fund? And are they, the question that I'm not clear about is the 51, in order to have the resolution read correctly, the 51 is what we expect the cost to be to get it operational for 2019. How council wishes to fund the operations in 2020 would be my assumption that you wouldn't take it out of reserves, nor as a treasurer would I recommend you take it out of reserves for operations. You would budget for the 2020 expenses as part of your regular budget, rather than drawing down in reserves. 2 different budget years, 2 different allocations. The question is, it may cost us more than 51 to get it open today, depending on the abatement that has to happen and any mechanical that they might find. If council wants it open irregardless, then there is no limit, and we would get the mechanics done for 2019 to hopefully be open if Mother Nature cooperates by the winter. 2020 operations are totally separate.
Okay, so through the chair, if we have the resolution read, for example, we will have 51,000 plus up to an additional 50,000 per se. We could have it read that way.
You could, and through the chair, I caution you that if the remediation has to be the whole building and we spend that other 50, we're coming back to you again for more money because we don't have the authority to do that without council's permission. That's the only caution about putting an upset limit. And if you're going to approve it anyway at a special meeting, then just remove the limit and let staff get on with the repairs that need to be done.
Okay, so through the chair, just for my own clarification, if we go ahead and approve the 51,000, what you're saying is if we get to that point where we use up to 51,000, and then we have an estimate of how much more it's going to cost, that's when it would be brought back to council? Is that what you're saying?
Depending on how council directs staff, yes.
Yes, okay.
If council wants it open either way, regardless of the cost, then you just remove the 51 and you say that the repairs be done and it come out of the reserve fund. And then we just proceed regardless of the cost. If you want to limit it and we go over that, we might be halfway through something and then have to come back to council for more money.
Okay.
So through the chair, how much is the reserve fund? There's a couple of them, I believe, right?
The one that I'm talking about has more than sufficient funds.
Sorry?
The one that I'm referring to council has more than sufficient funds.
So through the chair, I'd like to propose, I'd like to repeat, first of all, that council directed staff to get this ski hill going. Through my term in council, and even before my term in council, this is one of the most important topics of the town. The town wants a ski hill, we do it. And my calculation on the first part of funds, we need an additional 27.5. I'm not going to nitpick over a few dollars. I say we open it and we make it happen.
I'll read the resolution. And be it further resolved that upon consideration of council's review and consideration, direct staff as follows. Council approves funding from reserves to complete the work to open the ski hill for 2019. All in favor?
Do we have any applicants for this deal yet?
You can ask the clerk after. Okay. We're not able to answer questions. Sorry. Moved by Councilor Moffat, seconded by Councilor Scampanelli. Whereas Section 239.4 of the Municipal Act 2001, SO 2001C25, provides that before holding a meeting or part of a meeting that is to be closed to the public, a municipality or local board or committee of either of them shall state by resolution the fact of holding of the closed meeting and the general nature of the matter to be considered at the closed meeting. Now therefore be resolved that the meeting is hereby closed to the public as the subject matter being discussed falls under the following sections. 1. Section 239.2C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, Old Curling Club. Number 2, Section 239.2B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Closed section resolution 2019-20 discussion. Section 3, 239-2-B, personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Appointment of CLC member. All in favor? Thank you.